Imagine that within you resides a giant, a being of colossal power, capable of building palaces from nothing, of moving the mountains of adversity, of transforming the desert of scarcity into a garden of unimaginable wealth. This giant is not a metaphor, it exists. It is your subconscious mind. For most of your life, this giant has been asleep, and while it sleeps, its dreams, which are what build your reality, have been directed not by your conscious will, but by the random noise of your past, by the fears whispered to you, by the limitations you were taught, by the wounds that never healed. You have been the helpless inhabitant of a kingdom governed by the chaotic dreams of a sleeping giant. This audiobook is the alarm clock. It is the instruction manual that the manufacturer of the universe forgot to give you at birth. You are not here to learn how to create this power. You already possess it in its entirety. You are here to learn how to awaken it and direct it. Throughout the following chapters, we will decipher the code, the 20 hidden laws that govern this giant. You will learn its language, understand its impersonal nature, and master the art of giving it clear, powerful commands that it cannot disobey. The giant within you is beginning to stir in its sleep. It's listening to you. It's time to give it the command to awaken. Chapter 1. The first verse. The Law of Impersonal Servitude. We must begin with the first and most fundamental law of the code, the one that, once understood, will free you from the tyranny of guilt and empty hope. Welcome to the Law of Impersonal Servitude. This law states that your subconscious mind is a perfect servant, but it is a servant without a face, without judgment, and without morals. It is a law, not a person. We have been conditioned to project our own human qualities onto the universe. We believe in a power that rewards goodness and punishes badness. We believe that if we are good people, good things should happen to us, and if we are bad people, we deserve to suffer. And we spend our lives perplexed, watching good people have terrible things happen to them, and seemingly bad people prosper ceaselessly. This apparent injustice leads us to confusion and doubt. The truth is that the universe and its agent within you, your subconscious mind, does not operate under a law of morality. It operates under a law of mental cause and effect. Your subconscious mind is like electricity. Electricity does not ask if you are going to use it to light a hospital or to power an electric chair. It does not care about your moral intention. It simply, if you comply with its laws, if you create a circuit, flows. It is impersonal. Your subconscious mind is like the soil of a garden. The soil does not judge the seed you plant. It doesn't tell you, you shouldn't plant nightshade. It's poisonous. Nor does it tell you what a good person you are for planting roses. Its only function, its only directive, is to take whatever seed you give it and make it grow with the totality of its infinite power. You plant thistles, you harvest thistles. You plant corn, you harvest corn. The law is impersonal. This is the first revelation, both terrifying and sovereignly liberating. Terrifying, because it forces us to assume total responsibility for our lives. Liberating, because it gives us the absolute power to change them. The unconscious gardener. Imagine a person who is profoundly kind and generous, who spends their life helping others. But inside, in the secret garden of their mind, they constantly plant seeds of fear and worry about their health. They imagine themselves getting sick, repeat family stories of ailments, and focus on every small symptom with anxiety. Their subconscious, the impersonal soil, does not look at their good deeds, it looks at the seeds. And with perfect fidelity, it grows the seed of fear into the harvest of disease. Now imagine another person, perhaps selfish and unscrupulous in their business dealings. But this person, in their mind, plants with an unshakable conviction the seed of success and wealth. They see themselves triumphing, feel deserving of abundance, and focus exclusively on prosperity. Their subconscious again ignores their moral character. It receives the seed of wealth and makes it grow, manifesting in their life the material success they have planted. The universe does not give you what you deserve for your actions. It gives you what corresponds to the nature of your thoughts. This law frees you from the question, why is this happening to me? The answer is always the same, because in some way, consciously or unconsciously, I have planted the seed for it, and it gives you immense power. Because if you are the gardener, you have the power to stop planting the seeds of weeds and start planting, deliberately, the seeds of the garden you truly desire. This revelation is both terrifying and sovereignly liberating. Terrifying, because it forces us to take total responsibility for our lives. Liberating because it gives us the absolute power to change them. To become the master of your garden, you must first know what seeds you have been planting by default. The practice is that of the audit of your habitual thoughts. For the next 7 days, you carry a small notebook or a note on your phone. Your only task is to become a silent observer of your own mental workshop. Every time you catch yourself immersed in a recurring thought loop, in an internal narrative that repeats itself, you write it down, without judgment. Like a botanist classifying the plants in a field, is it a thought of worry about the future? Write it down. Is it a thought of resentment about the past? Write it down. Is it a thought of self-criticism about your abilities? Write it down. Is it a thought of gratitude, of possibility, of confidence? Write that down too. At the end of the week, look at your list. This is not a simple list of thoughts. It is the inventory of your seeds. It is the exact accounting of the harvest you are experiencing in your life right now. Separate the seeds into 2 columns. Seeds of life, thoughts of confidence, love, possibility, and seeds of poison, thoughts of fear, doubt, criticism. This awareness is the first and most brutal step toward freedom. Once you're aware of the weeds you have been planting out of habit, you begin the art of deliberate sowing. You don't try to stop thinking about the negative. That's fighting the weeds, which often only strengthens their roots. Instead, you focus on planting a new crop with so much dedication that, over time, the new strong plants will steal the sunlight and nutrients from the weeds. You choose a single, powerful seed that represents the harvest you most desire. Perhaps it is the seed of perfect health, of inner peace, or of prosperity. And throughout the day, whenever your mind is free, instead of allowing it to sow the old seeds of worry by default, you deliberately introduce your new seed. You hold the thought and, crucially, the feeling of perfect health for just 30 seconds. You are not fighting the disease. You are occupying the terrain of your mind with the vibration of health. The law of impersonal servitude has been revealed to you. You are no longer a victim of a capricious universe. You are the sovereign gardener of your own mind. You have learned that the quality of your life is the quality of the seeds you plant, and that you have at every moment the power to choose what you are going to sow. Law 2. The law of absolute belief. This law states that the subconscious only accepts as commands and executes those ideas that your conscious mind accepts as truths. This is why millions of people repeat empty affirmations without getting any results. They stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am rich," while every fiber of their being, every feeling in their body, screams, "That's a lie." Your subconscious mind has a perfect lie detector. It doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your conviction. It doesn't respond to your desires. It responds to your beliefs. The crucial difference, desire versus belief. To master this code, you must understand the fundamental difference between a simple desire and a belief. A desire is an acknowledgement of lack. When you desire something, you are admitting that you don't have it. It is a weak seed, an idea that your conscious mind presents as a future possibility, but not as a present reality. A belief is a certainty. It is a thought that has been accepted by your conscious mind as an accomplished fact. It is an idea that is no longer questioned. It is a truth in your inner universe. You can desire to be healthy while believing you are prone to illness. Your subconscious will ignore the weak desire and execute the powerful belief. You will harvest what you believe, not what you desire. The job of the subconscious programmer is not, therefore, to desire harder. It is to transform a desire into a belief, the anatomy of a creative belief. What is it that turns a simple thought into a belief that the subconscious cannot ignore? A creative belief, a seed that the giant is obligated to plant, has 3 essential components. It is fused with feeling. A belief is not a cold, intellectual idea. It is a thought that has been baptized in the fire of emotion. As the great master Neville Goddard taught, feeling is the secret. Feeling is what gives life to an idea. It is the blood, the substance, the DNA of the belief. Your subconscious is the emotional mind. It speaks and understands the language of feeling. When you combine a clear thought with a deep and congruent feeling, you are creating an indelible imprint. You are sealing the command. It is assumed as a present fact. A true belief is not a prediction about the future. It is a declaration about the now. The subconscious lives in an eternal present. To impress it, you must assume here and now the state of your wish fulfilled. You don't believe you will be healthy. You feel and assume the belief that you are healthy now. You don't believe you will be prosperous. You assume the feeling of prosperity as your present reality. It is the art of living in your inner world, as if your desire were already a tangible fact. It is exclusive. A powerful belief does not tolerate rivals. You cannot try to believe you are prosperous while at the same time harboring a belief of scarcity. The subconscious mind, faced with two contradictory commands, will execute the one that is more dominant, the one that is more deeply ingrained by habit and repetition. To install a new belief, you must be willing to abandon the old one. You must, as we will see later, put your mind on a diet of thoughts, refusing to feed the old belief while you nourish the new. The first practice, the forging of the belief seed. To transform a desire into a belief, you must first give it a clear, powerful, and concise form. The practice is that of forging your master affirmation. You take your desire, and you transform it into a decree that complies with the laws you already know. It must be personal, positive, and in the present tense. Use the power of I am. It must be short and easy to remember. A belief is a simple idea. It must evoke a feeling. The phrase must resonate with you on an emotional level. For example, if your desire is healing, your master affirmation could be, I am the embodiment of perfect health and divine vitality, and every cell in my body operates in perfect harmony. The second practice, the furnace of repetition. A belief is, in its essence, a thought that has been practiced to the point of automaticity. Repetition is the furnace in which a simple idea is tempered to become the steel of conviction. The morning decree. You begin your day by declaring your new belief. It is the act of establishing the law for your day, of giving your subconscious its main directive before the outside world can contaminate your mind with its own suggestions. The nightly lullaby. The most powerful workshop, as we have seen, is the drowsy state. Just before sleeping, when the guardian of the conscious mind dozes off, you repeat your master affirmation, not with force, but like a gentle lullaby. You repeat it over and over, feeling its truth until you fall asleep. You are planting the seed directly in the most fertile soil. The third practice, the fire of imagination and feeling. Repetition alone is a cold furnace. You must add fire for the alchemy to occur. The practice is that of imaginal immersion. You close your eyes, and you don't just repeat, I am successful. You build the scene. You create the memory of the future of your wish already fulfilled. What would you see through your own eyes if your desire were already a fact? What would you hear? The voice of a loved one congratulating you. What would you feel in your body? The lightness of health, the calm of security. You immerse yourself in this scene, and you generate, with all the intensity of your being, the emotion of gratitude, relief, and joy. This feeling is the fire that fuses thought with the subconscious, transforming it into a belief. The law of absolute belief has been revealed to you. You know that the giant within you does not respond to your whims, but to your conviction. You are no longer a victim of your old beliefs. You are the alchemist who, with repetition and feeling, can forge any truth he chooses to live in. Law 3, the law of perfect memory. This law states that your subconscious mind never forgets anything. It is the perfect archive, the infallible recorder of all your experiences, thoughts, and above all your emotions, from the moment of your birth to this very instant. The library of your soul, conscious versus subconscious memory. We must make a crucial distinction between your conscious memory and your subconscious memory. Your conscious memory is selective and often unreliable. It's like the few books you have on your desk. You remember the most important events, but the details fade. The stories get edited over time. Your subconscious memory, on the other hand, is total. It is the entire library. It has forgotten nothing. It has recorded every sight you have seen, every sound you have heard, every word you have been told, every caress, every wound, and most importantly, it has recorded the exact emotion you felt in each of those moments. Your subconscious is the black box of your soul. It records everything without judgment. The emotional ink. Why certain memories have more power. Within this vast library, not all books carry the same weight. Some are on dusty shelves and are rarely consulted. Others are the reference books that your subconscious opens and rereads every day to decide how to build your reality. What gives a memory its power? The intensity of the emotion with which it was recorded. A memory is not stored as a neutral data file. It is stored as an emotional charge. Emotion is the ink with which the book of the subconscious is written. An experience lived with a neutral emotion is written with almost invisible ink. An experience lived with a high-intensity emotion, a great trauma or a great ecstasy, is written with indelible ink. This is why early childhood experiences are so incredibly foundational. At that stage, our capacity to feel is at its maximum, while our capacity to reason is at its minimum. We absorb the experiences and emotions of our environment unfiltered. The feeling of abandonment if a parent leaves, the shame of a humiliation at school, the joy of a celebrated achievement. These are not simple memories. They are the first and darkest engravings on the plate of our being. They become the master files from which all future experiences will be interpreted. This is the root of recurring patterns. Your subconscious, in its attempt to be efficient, always seeks the familiar. And what is familiar to it is not the circumstance, but the feeling. If the strongest and most familiar feeling recorded in your file is that of rejection, your subconscious, like a loyal servant, will subtly guide you toward situations and people that allow you to recreate that familiar and painful emotion. You are not condemned to repeat the past. You are programmed to seek the familiar emotion of the past. And this is a distinction that returns all your power to you. The initiate in the code does not resign himself to being a prisoner of his own history. He becomes the librarian of his soul. He knows he has the authority to enter the archive, take a painful old book from the shelf, and, with the power of his imagination, rewrite its ending. This is the alchemical practice of revision. The principle is simple, and at the same time of immense transformative power. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. For it, both are memories. A memory is nothing more than an image impregnated with the ink of feeling. If you can, in your imagination, create a new image and charge it with a feeling even more powerful than that of the original wound, you can, literally, overwrite the past on a subconscious level. You are not changing the historical facts. You are not practicing self-deception. You are changing the emotional charge, the vibrational signature that the memory has on your system. You are extracting the poison from the wound. The ritual of the rewrite. The soul librarian does not enter his sacred archive lightly. He performs a ritual, a practice of conscious healing, often in the portal of the drowsy state, where the subconscious is most receptive. Select the book. The initiate chooses a single painful memory he wishes to heal, a humiliation, a failure, a betrayal. Reread the old story. For a brief moment he allows himself to remember the scene exactly as it happened, feeling the old pang of pain. This is necessary to open the file. Take the pen of imagination, and then the magic begins. He becomes the director of the movie of his past. He stops the scene just before the painful moment, and he rewrites it. The scene of public humiliation is rewritten as a scene of triumph and applause. The scene of betrayal is rewritten as one of loyalty and unconditional love. The scene of failure is rewritten as one of resounding success. Feel the new ending, and here is the key. He does not just see the new scene, he feels it with his whole being. He generates the emotion of joy, relief, and gratitude for the new and magnificent ending. He bathes in that feeling until it feels more real than the old wound. Repeat until conviction. He repeats this new revised scene over and over until the old memory loses its emotional power. Until, when he thinks of the original event, he no longer feels the contraction of pain, but the calm of the lesson learned. By doing this, you have neutralized the toxic charge of the past. You have paid the karmic debt. You have freed the energy that was trapped in that old wound, and it is now available for the creation of your present. And most importantly, you have given your subconscious a new familiar feeling, one of success and harmony, which it will now seek to recreate in your future. The law of perfect memory has been revealed to you. You are no longer a prisoner of your history. You are its editor. You have the power to enter your own sacred library and transform every volume of suffering into a manual of wisdom. Law 4. The law of universal connection. We must now expand our vision, lift our gaze from our own garden, and contemplate the vast cosmos of which we are a part. We must explore the law of universal connection. This law states that your individual subconscious mind is not a separate entity. It is an access point, a portal to the universal subconscious mind, an infinite intelligence that animates and connects all creation. The ocean and the drop, dismantling the illusion of separation. Imagine that the universal mind is an infinite ocean, vast, deep, and full of incalculable power and wisdom. Now imagine you take a single drop from that ocean. That drop is you, your individual consciousness. The drop may seem separate. It has its own boundaries for an instant. But is it really separate from the ocean? No, its essence is the same. The chemical formula of the drop is identical to that of the ocean. It contains in its being all the potentiality and nature of the ocean from which it came. And at any moment, it can merge back with it. This is the most precise metaphor for your relationship with infinite intelligence. The greatest illusion of the human condition, the source of all our fear and our feeling of loneliness, is the belief that we are an isolated and vulnerable drop. The truth is that we are the ocean, experiencing itself in the focal point of a drop. Your subconscious mind is your inseparable connection to this ocean. It is the channel through which the wisdom and power of the universal mind can flow into your individual experience. The properties of the universal mind. To be able to consciously collaborate with this force, you must understand its 4 fundamental properties, as described by the great wisdom masters throughout the centuries. It is omniscient. It knows all. The universal mind is a field of infinite information. It contains the blueprints of everything that has been, is, and could be. It is the source of all genius, all invention, and all inspiration. When a great inventor like Nikola Tesla had a flash of inspiration and saw a complete machine in his mind, he was not creating out of nothing. He was tuning his subconscious radio to the frequency of an idea that already existed in the universal mind. When you have a hunch, an inexplicable knowing that guides you to make the right decision, it is your subconscious mind accessing the vast database of the universal mind and giving you the conclusion without showing you the analysis. It knows the answer to every question and the solution to every problem, because it contains the question and the answer as 2 poles of the same reality. It is omnipotent. It can do all. This field is not just information. It is the creative substance itself. It is the primordial energy, the spirit that turns into matter under the direction of a thought. The universal mind is, at once, the supreme architect and the master builder. It has the power to organize energy, to move people, to orchestrate circumstances, and to create bridges of incidents, to bring any blueprint to its physical manifestation. It does not know the word impossible. The only limit to its power is the one we impose on it with our own beliefs. It is omnipresent. It is everywhere. The universal mind is not in a distant place. It is everywhere at all times. It is in the space between atoms, in the light of the stars, and most importantly, it is inside you. There is no barrier between you and this power. You are swimming in it. You breathe it. You are, in fact, an expression of it. The feeling of separation is the primordial illusion created by the ego. By realizing its omnipresence, you realize that you are never alone and that you are never disconnected from your source of power. The first practice, the art of receptivity. To dialogue with the ocean, you must first silence the noise of your own engine. The fundamental practice for accessing the universal mind is silent receptivity, meditation as tuning. Meditation in this context is not just for calming down. It is the act of tuning your radio. You sit in silence. You calm your conscious mind, the ego's chatter, and in doing so, your subconscious antenna becomes capable of receiving the subtle signal of infinite wisdom. In the silence, solutions to problems often arrive as a flash, creative inspiration flows, and intuitive guidance becomes clear. The journal as a channel. You take your journal. You write a clear, direct question to infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence residing in and through me, show me the perfect solution to this challenge. And then you simply start writing without thinking, without judging, allowing the wisdom of the universal subconscious to flow through your hand. You will often be surprised by the depth of the answers that arrive. The second practice, prayer as a conscious imprint. The initiate knows that prayer is not a supplication to a distant God. It is an act of conscious imprinting. It is the art of engraving a clear, feeling-charged image on the plate of the universal mind through the portal of your own subconscious. It is what Dr. Murphy called scientific prayer. It follows a process, the acknowledgement. You begin by acknowledging the nature of the field. You affirm the presence of an infinite intelligence that already has the solution and the power to manifest it. You don't ask it to create something. You acknowledge that it already exists as potential, the clarity of the idea. Then you present your desire not as a request, but as a clear image and an accomplished fact in your mind. You use your imagination to build the scene of the wish fulfilled, the feeling of reality. You feel with your whole being the gratitude and joy that your prayer has already been answered. This feeling of anticipatory thank you is what seals the imprint on the subconscious plate. It is the signature on the contract, the release. Finally, you let go. You release the prayer into the ocean, with absolute faith that the impersonal law of the mind will manifest it in the perfect time and way. You don't keep digging up the seed to see if it's growing. You trust the process. Imagine a person who has lost a valuable object. The novice's prayer would be, "Please God, help me find my ring." This is a plea born of doubt and fear. The initiate's scientific prayer would be an inner process. He would sit in silence, relax his mind, and he would think, "I know that the infinite intelligence within me knows everything, including where my ring is. I accept and declare that its wisdom reveals its location to me now. I feel a deep gratitude for knowing that the ring has already been found in the divine mind and that it is safe. I let it go knowing that it is done." And then with that calm he might receive an intuitive impulse, a sudden memory of where he left it. The law of universal connection has been revealed to you. You are no longer an isolated drop in a hostile ocean. You are the ocean itself, looking through the eyes of a drop. You have learned not only to direct your own mind, but to align it with the mind that is all. You have learned the art of dialoguing with infinite intelligence. Law 5. The Law of Homeostasis. Homeostasis is a biological principle. It is the tendency of any living system to maintain a stable and relatively constant state of internal balance. Your body, for example, works tirelessly to keep your temperature around 37 degrees Celsius. If you get cold, you shiver to generate heat. If you get hot, you sweat to cool down. The goal is always to return to the set point. What the code of the subconscious reveals is that this law applies not only to your biology, but to your entire life. Your subconscious mind has created a set point for each area of your existence based on the sum of your past beliefs and programming. You have a financial thermostat, a level of income and wealth that your subconscious considers normal and safe for you. You have a health thermostat, a level of vitality and well-being that you consider your normality. You have a thermostat for love and happiness, a degree of intimacy and joy that your system has learned to tolerate. The main directive of your subconscious, its most important job, is not to make you happy or successful. It is to keep you at these set points. It is to keep you in your comfort zone. The mechanics of the comfort zone, why the giant resists change. The law of homeostasis is the reason why change, even positive change, often feels so incredibly difficult. When you try through your conscious will to move away from your set point, your subconscious perceives it as a threat to the system's stability, and it activates all its alarms. Imagine that your financial thermostat is set to scarcity. One day you earn an unexpected amount of money. Your conscious mind is euphoric, but your subconscious panics and alert! The temperature is rising above our scarcity set point. Danger! We must cool the system down. And then this powerful giant begins to orchestrate invisibly the circumstances that will return you to your familiar comfort zone. Suddenly the car breaks down. An unexpected medical expense appears. You make a bad investment decision. And in a short time you return to your financial normality, and your subconscious can at last breathe a sigh of relief. This rollback effect is not bad luck. It is the law of homeostasis in action. It is your own inner giant, in its misguided attempt to protect you, sabotaging your attempts to grow. This mechanism operates on two levels. On a neurological level, your comfort zone is literally a network of strongly myelinated neural highways in your brain. It is the path of least resistance. Any new thought or behavior that deviates from these highways requires immense energetic effort. The brain, by nature, prefers the efficiency of old paths on a biochemical level. As we have seen, your body becomes addicted to the chemistry of your familiar emotional states. If your normality is the stress of scarcity, your body is accustomed to a diet of cortisol. The feeling of peace and abundance is so chemically unfamiliar that the body rejects it, creating a feeling of anxiety and discomfort that pushes you to return to the familiarity of stress. The first practice, the art of gradual stretching. The initiate does not try to take a quantum leap from poverty to wealth overnight. He knows that such a drastic change would trigger all the alarms of his homeostatic system. Instead, he practices gradual stretching. He begins by expanding his comfort zone in small, manageable steps. If his financial thermostat is set to scarcity, he does not immediately visualize himself as a multimillionaire. He starts by visualizing and feeling the comfort of having a small surplus at the end of the month. He feels the relief of paying all his bills with ease. Once this state has become normal and familiar, he takes the next step. He imagines doubling his income. Degree by degree, he stretches his capacity to receive. If his social thermostat is set to shyness, he does not visualize himself giving a speech to 10,000 people. He starts by visualizing himself having a comfortable, confident conversation with just one stranger. Then with a small group. This gradual approach allows him to trick his homeostatic guardian. The change is so subtle that the alarms do not go off. And little by little, what was once the ceiling of his comfort zone becomes the new floor. The second practice, familiarization with the new state. The key to readjusting the thermostat is to make the new temperature feel familiar and safe. The tool for this is imaginal immersion. The initiate dedicates time each day, through meditation and visualization, to live in his new reality. He does not do it to get it, but to familiarize himself with its sensation. He closes his eyes and immerses himself in the feeling of abundance, of health, of love. He allows his body to get used to this new chemistry, this new vibration. At first it may feel strange, like trying on clothes that don't fit. But with persistent repetition, the new feeling becomes more and more natural. He is literally reconditioning his body to a new mind, teaching his inner giant that this new, elevated temperature is not a danger, but a new and wonderful home. The law of homeostasis has been revealed to you. You are no longer a prisoner of your comfort zone. You are the engineer who, with a gradual wisdom and a persistent practice, can readjust the thermostat of his destiny and make greatness his new natural state. Chapter 6. The Law of the Master Image. Your conscious mind, the logical mind, communicates with abstract words, but the subconscious, the primordial mind, the mind of dreams and instinct, speaks a much older, more direct and more powerful language. It speaks the language of dreams, of symbols. We must master the law of the master image. This law states that the subconscious thinks in images and symbols, not in abstract words. The language before words imagine, trying to describe a sunset to a person who has never seen one, using only mathematical terms. You could describe the wavelength of the colors, the angles of the light, the speed of the Earth's rotation, but you could never convey the experience, the majesty, the emotion. Now imagine you show them a vivid, beautiful photograph of that sunset. In an instant they would understand. Your conscious mind, by using only words, is often speaking mathematics to your subconscious. But when you use your imagination to create an image, you are showing it a photograph. And as the old adage says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. The affirmation, I am prosperous, if it is just a series of repeated words, is like the mathematical formula. It is an abstract idea that the subconscious often doesn't know how to interpret. But the image of yourself signing an important contract with a feeling of triumph, or the image of you paying a bill with a smile of gratitude, that is a clear and direct blueprint that your subconscious can take and start building. The blueprint of creation, the image as a command, your subconscious is the master builder. And like every builder, it needs a detailed blueprint to be able to build. A clear and sustained mental image is that blueprint. If you give it a vague blueprint, I want to be happy, the builder stands idle, confused. If you give it a contradictory blueprint, you say you want wealth, but you constantly imagine yourself in scarcity. The builder will try to build two buildings at once on the same ground, and the result will be chaos. But if you give it a clear, detailed, and consistent blueprint, a vivid memory of the future of your wish already fulfilled, the builder will get to work with astonishing efficiency and power so that external reality corresponds to that blueprint. The neurological reality of visualization. This is not a simple metaphor. It is a neurological fact. When you close your eyes and visualize a scene with intensity, your brain activates the same areas, especially the visual cortex, that would activate if you were seeing the scene with your physical eyes. Your brain does not clearly distinguish between a real and a vividly imagined image. By visualizing, you are creating new neural connections, new superhighways. You are literally building the hardware of the new reality in your brain before it manifests. You are creating a precedent. The symbol as compressed code. The subconscious, in addition to images, loves symbols. A symbol is a simple image that contains an immense amount of information and emotional charge. Think of the power of a national flag across a brand logo. You can use this principle to your advantage. You can create a personal symbol for your desire. If your desire is financial freedom, perhaps your symbol is a golden key. If your desire is healing, perhaps your symbol is a white, brilliant light. By focusing on this simple symbol during your meditation, you are giving your subconscious a compressed file that contains all the information and emotion of your desire. It is an incredibly powerful shortcut. The first practice, the forging of the master scene. To engrave a new image on the subconscious, you must first forge it with clarity and power. The practice is that of creating your scene of the wish fulfilled. This scene must meet three sacred requirements. First, it must imply that the desire is already a fact. You don't visualize the process of getting the money. You visualize a scene after you have gotten it, such as paying a bill with a feeling of immense gratitude and relief. You don't visualize yourself looking for love. You visualize yourself in a calm, happy conversation with your partner, feeling the ring on your finger. The subconscious must receive the impression of the final outcome. Second, it must be lived in the first person. You don't see yourself in a movie as if you were a spectator. You must be the actor. You must see the scene through your own eyes, feel the steering wheel of the new car in your hands, hear the words of congratulations with your own ears. Third, it must be short and emotionally charged. It is not a long movie. It is a 10-second scene, a peak moment that you can easily repeat in your mind. And most importantly, it must be saturated with the emotion of your wish fulfilled. The second practice, the ritual of nightly imprinting. Once the master image has been forged, you must engrave it on the sensitive plate of your subconscious. The most powerful workshop for this is the portal of sleep. Every night, as you enter that drowsy state where your conscious mind relaxes and the guardian of doubt lowers its guard, you introduce your scene, you live it, you feel it, you repeat it like a lullaby over and over, until the sensation of its reality floods you and you fall asleep. This act of imprinting the subconscious mind just before sleep is the most direct and potent way to plant a new seed in the garden of your being. You are handing the blueprint directly to the master builder to work on it during the night. The law of the master image has been revealed to you. You know that you are not limited by the images of your past. You have the power to create new images for your future. You are no longer a victim of the movie of your life. You are its director, its screenwriter, and its protagonist. Law 7. The law of feeling as a seal. This is the missing piece for most students of the mind. They strive to control their thoughts, to repeat affirmations, to visualize their goals. But they do so from a place of intellectual effort, like a mechanical exercise. Their images are cold, their words are empty, and their subconscious, which is the emotional mind, is not impressed. It's like an actor who recites his lines without any emotion. The performance is not convincing. The great mystic Neville Goddard summed it up in an immortal phrase: feeling is the secret. You can spend all day thinking, I am rich, but if you feel poor, if the dominant vibration in your body is one of anxiety and scarcity, the feeling is the truth that your subconscious will accept and manifest. Emotion is the signature on the check. $1 million check without a signature has no value. $1 million idea without the feeling of its reality is equally useless. The physics and biology of feeling. The power of feeling is not a poetic idea. It is a law of physics and biology. Feeling as a vibrational signature. As we have seen, the universe is a resonance field. It does not respond to the structure of your thoughts, but to the frequency of your being. And your dominant frequency is determined by your emotional state. A feeling is not just a psychological state. It is a measurable vibrational signature. The feeling of gratitude has a coherent and expansive frequency. The feeling of fear has a chaotic and contractive frequency. The feeling of your wish fulfilled is the exact frequency of that reality. In the quantum field, by generating and sustaining that feeling in your body, you are becoming a human tuning fork. You are vibrating at the frequency of your future, and by the law of resonance, that reality must be attracted to you, so that the universe maintains its harmony to the heart as an amplifier. Your heart is the amplifier that takes the signal of your feeling and transmits it to the field with immense power. As we already know, its electromagnetic field is thousands of times more powerful than the brain's. It is your true energetic signature. And the information that this field transmits is determined, moment by moment, by your emotional state. An elevated emotion like gratitude or joy creates a coherent field, a clear and powerful radio signal that organizes the energy around it. A survival emotion like fear or anger creates an incoherent field, a signal full of static that introduces chaos into the system. A mind's image without a heart's feeling is like talking into a microphone that is turned off. But when you unite the clear image of your mind with the elevated emotion of your heart, you turn on the amplifier. You are sending a coherent, high-power signal that the universe cannot ignore. The chemistry of belief. Finally, feeling is the language that your body understands. When you generate a feeling, you are creating a biochemical cocktail. By feeling the gratitude and joy of your wish fulfilled, you are flooding your body with endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. You are literally living in the chemistry of your future. This new chemical state, if practiced consistently, begins to recondition your body. It teaches your subconscious at a cellular level that this new elevated emotion is your new normal. This is the process of transforming an idea into a belief. A belief is not something you think. It is something you embody at a chemical and cellular level. We understand that it is not enough to think. We must feel. But how do you generate a feeling at will? How do you feel the joy of wealth you don't yet see, or the peace of healing that hasn't happened yet? How do we become the alchemists of our own hearts? It is not achieved through effort, but through invitation. You enter the workshop of your being and practice the art of emotional generation. The first practice, the door of the body. To generate a feeling, you don't start in the abstract mind. You start in the physical body. Your body is the instrument of emotion. If you want it to play a new melody, you must first tune it. The breath of coherence. Your breath is the bow of your nervous system's violin. Shallow, chest-level breathing produces the music of stress. Slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing produces the music of calm. To prepare the ground for an elevated emotion, you first calm the system. You practice heart-focused breathing, inhaling and exhaling rhythmically, sending your body the signal that it is safe, that it is in a receptive state for a new emotion. The physiology of faith. You deliberately adopt the posture of your wish fulfilled. You straighten your back, relax your shoulders, open your chest and smile gently. You are sending your brain the signal to produce the chemistry of confidence and well-being. The second practice, the resonance of memory. The projectionist understands that his past is not a sentence, but a library of emotional frequencies he can access at will. To color his vision of the future, he often borrows the most vibrant colors from his past. This is the practice of emotional memory. You choose the exact emotion you need to seal your vision. Let's say it's the feeling of triumph. Then you become an archaeologist of your own life. You scan your memory for a moment, however small, in which you felt that triumph purely and potently. Once you have found the memory, you don't just think about it. You immerse yourself in it. You relive it in the first person with all your senses, and as the emotion of triumph begins to grow in your body, you perform the key move of the alchemist. You let go of the story, but you retain the feeling. You release the specific details of the memory and keep only the pure sensation, the vibration of the achievement, and it is this pure vibration that you now link to the image of your future desire. You are using the fire of an old success to forge a new one. The third practice, the gratitude amplifier. Of all emotions, the Master knows that gratitude is the purest, most coherent, and most potent heat for engraving on the holographic plate. It is the emotional signature of reception. It is the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Your practice is that of anticipatory gratitude. Every morning, the artist does not just visualize his vision, he heats it with the flame of gratitude. He begins to give thanks, not only for what he has, but for the already fulfilled vision, as if it were already a fact in his life. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for the resounding success of this project. Thank you for the abundance that flows into my life. Thank you for the perfect health that is already my reality. He knows that this feeling of gratitude is the clearest signal he can send to his subconscious and to the quantum field. It is proof that he considers the command a guaranteed success, and in the economy of the mind, the investor's expectation is what ultimately moves the market. The law of feeling as a seal has been revealed to you. You know that an idea without feeling is a prayer without an answer. An image without emotion is a dead seed. You are no longer a victim of your moods. You are the alchemist of your own heart, with the power to generate at will the feeling that seals your new reality. Law 8. The law of rhythmic repetition. Imagine your brain is a dense virgin jungle. The first time you have a new thought, the first time you try to install a new belief like I am abundance, it's as if you took a machete and tried to cut a new path in that jungle. It's difficult. It requires immense conscious effort. The resistance from the weeds, your old beliefs, is enormous. If you only walk that path once, the jungle in a matter of hours will grow back and erase your trace. But what happens if the next day you walk the same path with your machete again? And the day after that? And the day after that? With each repetition, the path becomes a little easier. The grass is flattened. The small branches break. The path becomes more visible. If you persist day after day, week after week, that path becomes a dirt road, then a highway. And finally, if you maintain the practice, it becomes an 8-lane neural superhighway, perfectly paved and myelinated. This is not a metaphor. It is what literally happens in your brain. The persistent repetition of a thought or an action strengthens the synaptic connections between the neurons involved and coats them with myelin, an insulating sheath that allows the signal to travel faster and faster and with less resistance. A habit, a belief, is nothing more than a neural superhighway. And the reason why your old patterns of scarcity and doubt are so automatic is because you have spent decades paving those superhighways. The law of rhythmic repetition gives you the power to become a road engineer of your own mind. It gives you the tool to stop using the old roads that lead you to undesirable destinations and to deliberately build new superhighways that lead you to health, wealth, and happiness. The power of rhythm. Consistency versus intensity. The untrained mind makes a fundamental mistake in its attempt to change. It believes in the power of intensity. It tries to change through a single great burst of effort. For it's the person who on January 1st goes to the gym for 3 hours, completely exhausts themselves and doesn't go back for a month. The subconscious does not respond to sporadic intensity. It responds to rhythmic consistency. Imagine a large granite rock. You can hit it once with a sledgehammer with all your strength. You will probably not even make a dent and will exhaust yourself. But what happens if you allow a small drop of water to fall on that same rock, in the same spot every second without stopping? Day after day, year after year, that gentle and persistent repetition will, over time, drill a hole in the hardest rock. The dripping of water is more powerful than the strike of the sledgehammer. Your subconscious mind is that rock. Your old beliefs are of formidable hardness. You cannot break them with a single act of will. But you can dissolve them and carve a new groove in them through the persistent rhythmic repetition of your new belief. It is better to practice your affirmation with feeling for 5 minutes every day than to do it for an hour, once a week. Consistency is the key that proves to your subconscious that your new command is serious, that it is not a simple whim. The first practice, the daily trinity of imprinting. For repetition to be effective, it must be rhythmic and strategic. You use a system of 3 daily points of contact to maximize the imprinting of your new belief on the subconscious plate. The morning decree. You begin your day, immediately upon waking, by declaring your new belief. It is the act of establishing the law for your day, of giving your subconscious its main directive before the outside world can contaminate your mind with its own suggestions of fear and limitation. It is the first drop of water on the rock. The midday anchor. You choose a recurring habit you already have in your day, like drinking a glass of water, having a coffee or the moment just before you start eating, and you anchor it to your new belief. Every time you perform that habit, you pause for 10 seconds, close your eyes, and repeat with feeling your master affirmation. You are using the old rhythms of your life to build a new one, integrating the new belief into the fabric of your daily life. The nightly lullaby, and the most important drip, the one that penetrates most deeply, happens at the portal of sleep. In the drowsy state, when your conscious mind relaxes, you repeat your affirmation, not with force, but like a gentle lullaby. You feel it. You whisper it, over and over, until the sensation of its truth carries you into sleep. You are planting the seed directly in the most fertile soil, without any resistance. The second practice, the power of the written word. To anchor the new belief even more deeply, you take it out of the ethereal world of thought and bring it into the physical world. You write it. The act of writing engages your body. It activates the motor cortex of your brain. It creates a kinesthetic memory. It is a much stronger act of commitment than simple thought. You dedicate 5 minutes every day to writing your master affirmation in your journal. You write it 5 to 10 times. You do not do it mechanically. You feel the truth of each word as your hand glides across the paper. You are literally writing the new code into the book of your life. The law of rhythmic repetition has been revealed to you. You know that mastery is not born from a single act of power, but from consistent discipline and persistent practice. You are no longer a victim of your old habits. You are the engineer of your new neural superhighways, with the power to pave day after day the path to any destination you choose. Law 9. The law of least resistance. This law states that the subconscious, like energy, like water, will always follow the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is always your most dominant and deeply ingrained belief, the riverbed of the mind imagine. Your mind is a vast landscape. The energy of your consciousness, your thoughts, are like water flowing over that landscape. At first, the landscape is relatively flat. The water flows in many directions. But every time you have a thought, it is like a drop of water that carves a small groove in the earth. If you have the same thought over and over again thousands of times, that small groove turns into a stream. With millions of repetitions over the years, that stream becomes a deep river, a canyon. A belief is not a simple thought. It is a canyon you have carved into the landscape of your brain through repetition. It is a strongly myelinated neural superhighway. It is the path of least resistance. When a new current of vital energy arrives, a new idea, a new opportunity, a new decision, what path do you think it will naturally take? It will not take the difficult path of carving a new groove through virgin land. By default, it will flow down the deep, familiar canyon that already exists. This is the reason why change is so difficult. You are not fighting a character flaw. You are fighting the geography of your own mind, the gravity of habit, the struggle between will and program. Law of least resistance explains the eternal conflict between your conscious willpower and your subconscious programming. Your willpower is the conscious effort you make to try to get the water to flow in a new direction, to try to carve a new groove. Your dominant belief is the gravitational force of the old canyon. You can use your willpower, your machete, to cut a new path in the jungle. But the moment you get tired, the moment your attention wanders, the energy of your mind, following the law of least resistance, will rush back down the familiar, easy superhighway of your old habit. That is why willpower by itself almost always fails in the long run. It's like trying to build a dam against the Amazon River with your bare hands. You can hold back the flow for a while, but eventually the river's power will break your dam. Imagine a person who is trying to start a new healthy diet. His conscious will, the desire to eat a salad, is in direct conflict with a deeply ingrained belief habit, the canyon that says pleasure and comfort are found in junk food. During the day, while his will is fresh, he may manage to direct the water into the new difficult groove of the salad. But at night, when he is tired and stressed, his will weakens, and the energy of his desire, seeking the easiest path, rushes with overwhelming force down the old familiar canyon of junk food. He has not failed from lack of desire. He has failed because he has underestimated the power of the geography of his own mind. The first practice, deliberate excavation. To change a river's course, you don't fight the water. You change the land. The practice is not one of willpower, but of conscious excavation. Repetition as a digger. The main tool for carving your new channel is the law of rhythmic repetition. Every time you repeat your new affirmation with feeling, it is a strike of the excavator in the land of your mind. Every time you hold the master image of your new future, you are deepening the new channel inch by inch. Emotion as water. Feeling is the water that softens the earth, making excavation easier. A cold mechanical repetition is like trying to dig in dry rock. A repetition charged with the heat of the emotion of the wish fulfilled is like digging in moist, fertile soil. The second practice, the dam strategy. A wise engineer not only excavates a new channel, he also builds a dam to reduce the flow of water to the old one. The practice is that of the conscious starvation of the old pattern. Every time a thought from the old canyon appears, a thought of doubt, of fear, of self-criticism, instead of following its current, you build a small dam. How? You withdraw your attention. You refuse to give the old river the energy of your focus. You watch it pass, but you don't get on its current. Every time you do this, you are placing one more brick in the dam that over time will take away the power of the old habit. The tipping point. When the river changes course. The process of change is not linear. At first it requires immense conscious effort. The new channel is shallow, and most of the water of your consciousness still wants to flow down the old deep canyon. But with persistence in the excavation, repetition, and in the dam building, the refusal to feed the old, a tipping point is reached. The new channel becomes as deep as, or even deeper than, the old one. And in that moment, the magic happens. The river of your mind, by the very law of least resistance, naturally changes its course. The new habit ceases to require effort. The new belief becomes automatic. Thinking about abundance becomes easier and more natural than thinking about scarcity. You have created a new path of least resistance. You have changed the geography of your mind. The law of least resistance is no longer your jailer. It has become your ally. You have understood that it is not about fighting gravity, but about using it to your advantage. You are no longer a victim of your habits. You are the engineer of your own mind, with the power to dig the channels that will carry the river of your life to the ocean of your highest desires. Law 10. The law of hypnotic suggestion. During your waking hours, your conscious mind, the logical and rational mind, acts as the guardian at the gate of your subconscious. Its job is to analyze incoming information, compare it with your past beliefs and experiences, the law of perfect memory, and reject any idea that does not align with your current map of reality. This guardian is essential for your survival in the physical world, but in the process of creating a new reality, it is the greatest of obstacles. If your ingrained belief is "I am poor" and you try, in broad daylight, to affirm "I am rich," this guardian immediately stands up and shouts, "Lie! Look at your bank account. Look at your bills." The new idea is rejected before it can reach the subconscious. If you try to install the belief, "I am perfectly healthy," while feeling a physical symptom, the guardian will use the evidence of your body to override your command. The genius of subconscious programming does not lie in fighting this guardian, but in waiting for it to fall asleep. And the moment the guardian lowers its defenses, the moment the door to the subconscious is wide open, is in the drowsy state just before sleep, or in a state of deep meditation. The science of the portal, the journey through brain waves, this is not a purely mystical concept. It is a neuroscientific fact. Your state of consciousness is directly correlated with the frequency of your brain waves. Beta waves. When you are completely awake, alert and focused on the external world, your brain operates in the beta state. This is the state of the analytical mind, of the guardian on its watchtower. The door to the subconscious is closed and guarded. Alpha waves. As you begin to relax, to close your eyes, to meditate, your brain waves begin to slow down, entering the alpha state. This is the bridge, the antechamber to the subconscious. The guardian begins to yawn, its attention fading. Theta waves, just at the threshold of sleep. In that magical and lucid state, where images begin to flow freely, your brain waves have slowed down to the theta state. This is the realm of the subconscious mind. The guardian is sound asleep. The door to the throne room, to the projection booth, is completely open. This is the state of hypnosis, of maximum suggestibility. It is here that a new seed, a new image, can be planted directly in the fertile soil of the subconscious, without any resistance from the critical mind. Delta waves. Finally, you fall into deep sleep, the delta state, where the body performs its repair functions. The practice of the mind programmer is, therefore, the art of remaining conscious while his brain descends from beta to alpha and, crucially, to theta. He learns to ride the wave of drowsiness, to stay awake enough to hold his intention, but relaxed enough for the guardian to fall asleep. This state, known as the hypnagogic state, is the dark room we have talked about. It is the moment when the veil between the worlds is thinnest. It is the developing fluid in which you immerse your negative for the image to be fixed. A single image, a single sensation imprinted on your subconscious in this receptive theta state, has more power than 1,000 affirmations repeated in the beta state of resistance. The first practice, the forging of the hypnotic seed. The subconscious programmer does not enter the theta state with a vague idea or a long, complex sentence. He prepares beforehand his hypnotic seed. He knows that the mind, at the threshold of sleep, no longer has the capacity for complex analysis. It responds to simplicity, emotion, and rhythm. Therefore, his seed must be short and concise. It is often a single word or a very short phrase. Not "I am so happy and grateful now that money is flowing to me." It is simply the word wealth, or the phrase thank you. Father. Emotionally charged, the chosen word or phrase must be a symbol that encapsulates, for you, the complete feeling of your wish fulfilled. The word wealth must evoke in your body the feeling of relief, freedom, and security, easy to repeat. It must be like a lullaby, a word that you can gently rock in your mind without effort. The second practice, the subconscious lullaby ritual. With the seed ready, the programmer prepares for the ritual of sowing. His practice is that of the subconscious lullaby. Deep relaxation. The initiate lies down, releasing the day's tensions. His only goal is to relax, to invite drowsiness, to allow the guardian of logic to fall asleep. He feels the weight of his body, the calm in his breathing. He doesn't force anything. He simply lets go. Gentle implantation. The moment he feels he is beginning to drift, in that sweet portal of the theta state where the body is heavy and the mind floats, he introduces his hypnotic seed. He whispers mentally his short phrase, perfect health, the rhythmic loop, and then with a focused passivity he repeats it, over and over, effortlessly, like the waves of the sea, like a heartbeat. Like a gentle lullaby he sings to himself until the feeling of the seed merges with the sensation of drowsiness, until the distinction between the imagined and the real fades away. Surrender to sleep. The ultimate goal is to fall asleep feeling the truth of the lullaby. It is the act of taking your new belief with you into the vast ocean of the subconscious, allowing the giant to work on it all night. Upon waking, you may not remember the practice, but the seed has been planted in the most fertile soil. The law of hypnotic suggestion has been revealed to you. You are no longer at the mercy of the resistance of your conscious mind. You have found the back door, the secret passage to the throne of your inner giant. Your last waking moments are no longer an end, but the beginning of the next day's creation. You have become the sower who works in the most fertile moment of the night. Law 11. The law of scientific prayer. We must first of all strip the word prayer of its connotations of weakness and supplication. Prayer, as practiced in victim consciousness, is the act of begging an external force. Scientific prayer, as taught by Dr. Joseph Murphy, is its diametrical opposite. It is not an act of supplication. It is an act of imprinting. It is not a petition to a distant God. It is a deliberate dialogue with the divine power that resides in your own subconscious. And it is scientific because it does not operate by chance, blind faith, or miracle. It operates by following a law, a precise and repeatable method based on a deep understanding of psychology and metaphysics. It is scientific Because if you follow the formula correctly, the result is predictable. The cause you establish in your inner world will inevitably produce a corresponding effect in your outer world. The law of scientific prayer is the formula that unites the three great powers of creation in a single potent act. The formula is simple in its statement and profound in its application. Clear idea plus elevated emotion plus unshakable faith. Manifestation lets break down, one by one, the components of this divine equation. The first component, the clear idea, the architect's blueprint. The first requirement of scientific prayer is clarity. The subconscious, as we have seen, is a literal builder. It cannot build a house without a detailed blueprint. A vague desire like, "I want to be happy," is a useless blueprint. The first job of the scientific prayer is to become an architect. His practice is the crystallization of the idea, specificity. The initiate doesn't just desire more money. He defines a specific amount, or, better yet, he defines the lifestyle that amount would allow him. He defines the feeling of freedom and security he seeks. The final scene. As we have learned, the most potent way to present an idea to the subconscious is through an image. The architect designs a short, simple, and vivid scene that implies his wish is already an accomplished fact. Not the moment of receiving, but the moment after. The congratulatory conversation, the sigh of relief, the quiet celebration. Sensory richness. The initiate enriches this scene with sensory details. What does he see through his own eyes? What sounds does he hear? What textures does he feel? The more sensory details you add to your vision, the more real the blueprint becomes for the subconscious builder. The second component, the elevated emotion, the king's seal. A blueprint, no matter how perfect, if it does not bear the king's seal of authorization, will not be executed. In the science of the mind, emotion is that seal. The second job of the scientific prayer is to become the alchemist of his own heart. The choice of feeling. The initiate knows that the emotion he must generate is not one of longing, but of fulfillment. He asks himself, how would I feel if my wish were already a fact? And he chooses the emotion that best represents that reality. Gratitude, relief, joy, peace. Deliberate generation. Then he practices the art of emotional generation. He uses his body, his breath, his memory to deliberately evoke that feeling in the now. He bathes in the emotion of his wish fulfilled before it manifests. The fusion. Finally, he fuses the clear idea with the elevated emotion. In the workshop of his imagination, he lives his scene of the wish fulfilled while simultaneously he floods his body with the feeling of his reality. This act of fusion is what charges the blueprint with the energy necessary for construction. It is the seal on the contract. Faith in this scientific context is not a blind hope. It is the act of radical trust and liberation. It is the moment when the architect, after having handed the perfect and sealed blueprint to the master builder, withdraws from the construction site and trusts, with an absolute certainty, that the builder knows exactly what he has to do. The untrained mind makes a fatal mistake at this point. After performing its prayer, its act of imprinting, it immediately begins to doubt. It asks itself, will it work? How will it happen? When will I see it? Every one of these questions is an act of distrust. It is as if the architect went down to the construction site every 5 minutes to tell the builder how to mix the cement or to dig up the foundations to see if they were properly laid. This interference, born of doubt, is a counter-command. It sends a contradictory message to the subconscious that cancels out the original instruction. Faith is the art of leaving the builder alone. It is entering what the mystics call the mental Sabbath. You have done your creative work in the 6 days of preparation and imprinting. On the 7th day you rest. You rest in the serene and calm certainty that your prayer has been heard and that it is already in the process of manifestation. The Alchemist's Workshop. The 5-step prayer protocol now. We will assemble all these pieces into a practical and complete protocol. Scientific prayer is not an improvised act. It is a ritual. The preparation, the silence. You choose your time and place, ideally where you will not be interrupted. You enter the darkroom of relaxation, into the alpha or theta state, to silence the guardian of the critical mind. You close your eyes. You breathe deeply. You calm your body and your mind. The acknowledgement, the connection. You begin by acknowledging the infinite power of your subconscious mind and its connection to universal intelligence. You do not speak to it as a lesser servant, but with reverence. Your thought is, I acknowledge the presence of infinite intelligence within me, which knows everything and can do everything. I know it contains the perfect solution to my desire. The imprint, the clear idea. Now you introduce your scene of the wish fulfilled, your master image. You live it in the first person. You see it with the greatest possible clarity. This is the blueprint you are handing over, the seal, the elevated emotion. You flood the scene with the emotion of the wish already fulfilled. You feel gratitude, relief, joy. You feel the thank you vibrating in every cell of your body, as if you have already received the gift. This is the seal, the signature, the final authorization, the release, the faith, and finally you let go. You release the image, you release the feeling, and you hand them over to the depths of your mind with the unshakable faith that it is already done. You do not ask for it again, because asking again would be an admission that you do not believe you received it the first time. You trust the law, the post-prayer discipline once the prayer has been made. Your only job is to remain loyal to its fulfillment. If doubt or fear appear during the day, you do not pray again. You simply remind your conscious mind with a firm calm, it is already done. The command has been given and is being executed, and you return your attention to a state of peace and gratitude. The law of scientific prayer has been revealed to you. You are no longer a supplicant who prays to an external God. You are a scientist of the mind, an architect of consciousness, who uses the immutable laws of being to shape your world. Law 12, the law of physical embodiment. Now we must explore the first and most intimate canvas on which your subconscious projects its work. It is not your bank account. It is not your relationships. It is your own body. We must decipher the law of physical embodiment. This law states that your physical body is the visible manifestation, the crystallization in matter, of your subconscious programming. Your body is the most faithful echo of the song that is being sung in your mind. The body is the ultimate mirror. We have lived under the great Cartesian illusion, the idea that the mind and body are two separate entities, that the mind is an immaterial ghost that inhabits the machine of the body. The codex of the subconscious reveals that this is a lie. There is no separation. Your mind and your body are two aspects of the same single substance, consciousness. Your body is in essence your subconscious mind made visible. It is not a passive vehicle that simply transports you. It is a living archive. It is a mirror that reflects with brutal honesty the quality of your habitual thoughts and feelings. A mind that lives in a chronic state of fear and anxiety will sculpt a tense, contracted body with hunched shoulders and shallow breathing. A mind that harbors unresolved resentment will often manifest that bitterness in the form of chronic inflammation, digestive problems, or joint stiffness. Conversely, a mind that lives in a state of peace and gratitude will create a relaxed, open body with a physiology of healing and vitality. Your posture is not just physical. It is a metaphysical declaration. Your health is not just a matter of genetics and diet. It is the reflection of your consciousness, the mechanisms of embodiment, how thought becomes biology. This is not an abstract philosophical concept. It is a measurable biochemical and epigenetic process, the chemistry of thought. Every thought you have, and every emotion that thought generates, triggers a cascade of chemical reactions in your brain. Your hypothalamus, the great laboratory, produces small proteins called neuropeptides. Every emotion has its own corresponding neuropeptide. These neuropeptides travel through your bloodstream as messengers, carrying a specific command to every one of the trillions of cells in your body. A thought of stress releases the chemistry of cortisol and adrenaline, which tells your cells, danger, prepare for battle, divert energy from healing and growth. A thought of love or gratitude releases the chemistry of oxytocin and serotonin, which tells your cells, we are safe. It is time to grow, to repair, to prosper. Your inner dialogue is the pharmacist who is constantly prescribing the chemistry your body must produce, the cellular conversation. Every one of your cells is a living, intelligent being, and on its surface there are thousands of receptors, which are like ears that listen carefully to the chemical soup they are swimming in. When your cells are constantly bombarded by the chemistry of stress, they adapt. They literally reduce the number of receptors for those stress molecules. They become insensitive, and, often, for the molecules of well-being as well. And more importantly, this chemical signal from the environment is what talks to your DNA. As we have seen, the science of epigenetics has shown that it is the signals from the environment that tell your genes which ones to turn on and which ones to turn off. A mental and emotional state of chronic stress is a signal that can activate genes related to inflammation and disease. A state of coherence and elevated emotion is a signal that activates the genes of repair and longevity. You are not at the mercy of your genes. Your genes are at the mercy of the chemistry that you create with your thoughts and feelings. The body's addiction to familiar states. Over time, your body becomes chemically addicted to your dominant emotional state. If you have spent 20 years living in a state of victimization and resentment, your cells are literally addicted to the chemistry of those emotions. That state has become your homeostatic normality. That is why healing often feels so uncomfortable at first. When you try to feel peace or gratitude, your body in a state of withdrawal sends a panic signal to the brain. This isn't familiar. I need my dose of cortisol. Give me a reason to worry. And your body, as the embodiment of your subconscious, will often create physical symptoms that correspond to your old identity. The first practice, accessing the blueprint of perfection. To heal the body, you don't have to invent health. You have to remember it. The practice is to access the original blueprint. In your meditative state, you don't focus on the sick organ, because that is focusing your attention on the problem. Instead, you connect with the infinite intelligence that resides in your subconscious. The same intelligence that knows how to grow a fingernail or heal a wound, and you ask it to show you the hologram of your body in its original state of perfection. Your scientific prayer is a petition for revelation. Infinite intelligence that animates every cell of my being, show me and make me feel the idea of perfect health for my name of organ or system. Free me from all belief in imperfection, and reveal your original blueprint to my consciousness. And then you wait in stillness. You allow an image, a sensation, a knowing of vitality and perfect function to emerge into your consciousness. The second practice, visualization as a chemical command. With the blueprint of perfect health in your mind, you must now give your body the command to build it. The practice is that of healing visualization. As you already know, the subconscious does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. By visualizing, you are creating the chemistry of the new reality, the scene of vitality. You build a short, simple scene that implies you are already healthy. You see yourself running, laughing, moving without pain, performing that activity that the illness prevented you from doing. You live it in the first person. The light bath. Another powerful technique is direct visualization. You imagine a bright, golden or white light filled with the healing intelligence of the universe, and you visualize this light flowing to the part of your body that needs healing, bathing every cell, dissolving all imperfection, and restoring divine order, the seal of feeling. While holding this image, you flood it with the feeling of gratitude and love. You feel immense gratitude for your healthy and perfect body. You thank every organ, every cell for its intelligence and its work. You are literally sending a new chemical cocktail, the chemistry of healing, to every one of your cells. You are giving them a new command. The third practice, the lullaby of healing. For the new command to be accepted and become the default program, it must be repeated in the most receptive state. The practice is that of the healing lullaby. Just before sleep in the theta state, when the door to your subconscious is open, you choose a single word that symbolizes your healing. Health, or perfection, or thank you, and you repeat it gently like a lullaby, feeling its truth until you fall asleep. You are handing the final command to the Master Builder, so that he can work on the reconstruction of your bodily temple all night long. The law of physical embodiment has been revealed to you. Your body is no longer an unpredictable machine that breaks down by chance. It is your most intimate creation, a canvas that always reflects the art of your mind. You are no longer a victim of your biology. You are the healer, the architect of your own temple. with the power to dissolve the patterns of disease and to embody, on a cellular level, the image of perfect health. You have learned to use your power to project healing onto your own body. Now we must explore how your subconscious projects and attracts external circumstances. In the next chapter, we will decipher the law of magnetic attraction. Law 13. The law of magnetic attraction. This law states that your subconscious mind, through the signature of your dominant beliefs and emotions, generates an electromagnetic field around you. This field is your personal energetic signature, your aura, and this field acts as a magnet, attracting into your life people, conditions, and circumstances that resonate with its vibrational frequency. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are at a subconscious level. The subconscious magnet. Your conscious mind can desire wealth with all its might. But if your subconscious mind is programmed with beliefs of scarcity and unworthiness, the magnet you are activating is that of poverty. Your subconscious, the faithful giant, will work to attract circumstances that validate its dominant program, not your conscious desire. That is why true mastery is not about asking, believing, receiving, like a child's game. It consists of the deep work of reprogramming the nature of your own magnet, the science of your personal magnet, the heart as a generator. This magnetic field is not an abstract idea. It is a biophysical phenomenon. Its main generator is your heart. The science of the HeartMath Institute has shown that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that is up to 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's. This field, which extends several meters around you, is the most powerful signal you are transmitting to the quantum field, to the universe. And the information contained in this signal is determined by the coherence of your thoughts and your feelings. Imagine manifestation as an electromagnetic process. Your thoughts are the electrical charge. They contain the information, the what. They are the blueprint. Your feelings are the magnetic charge. They contain the power of attraction, the how strong. They are the energy that gives life to the blueprint. A thought without a feeling to accompany it is an electrical charge without magnetism. It attracts nothing. An emotion without a clear thought to direct it is a magnetic field without information. It attracts chaos. Magnetic attraction occurs when your thought and your feeling are in perfect alignment, in coherence. When you have a clear idea in your mind, the electrical charge, and you unite it with an elevated emotion in your heart, the magnetic charge, you are emitting a unified, powerful electromagnetic signature. You are giving the universe a clear, power-charged command. Imagine a person who consciously desires a loving relationship. That is his thought, his electrical charge. But at a subconscious level, his feeling is one of fear of being hurt, an echo of past relationships. The electromagnetic signal he is emitting is a chaotic mixture of I want love and love is dangerous. It is a signal to come closer and go away at the same time. The universe, upon receiving this contradictory signal, can only reflect back to him equally contradictory and chaotic experiences, people who appear and disappear, relationships that are both attractive and painful. The work of the subconscious programmer is to align these two charges. It is to heal the feeling of the past so that it corresponds to the vision of the future. The first practice, the calibration of the magnet. To attract a new reality, you must first become a new magnet. The practice is that of calibrating your electromagnetic signature. This is the central ritual of creation. The electrical charge, the clear intention. You begin in the stillness of your inner workshop. You define the electrical charge, the clear, simple, and first-person image of your wish already fulfilled. The magnetic charge, the elevated emotion. Then, you activate the generator. You bring your attention to your heart, and you deliberately generate the magnetic charge. You use gratitude, love, or joy. You feel this emotion until it floods your body, until your state of being changes. The unified transmission. Finally, you fuse the image and the feeling. You hold this coherent electromagnetic signature, knowing that you are emitting a new signal to the field, becoming a magnet for a new reality. The second practice, living as the magnet. The morning ritual calibrates the magnet, but mastery resides in maintaining that polarity throughout the day. The practice is to live as if you have already attracted your desire. You don't just practice being abundant, You are abundant in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You ask yourself, how would the person who has already achieved this act? And you act from that energy. You do not act from need, but from wholeness. You do not seek validation, but radiate it. This state of non-needy, serene confidence is the most powerful magnetic signature you can emit. It tells the universe that you are not waiting, but that you are. And the universe, which is a mirror, has no choice but to reflect back to you the circumstances that correspond to that new self. The law of magnetic attraction has been revealed to you. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are a living magnet and the architect of your own magnetic field. You have learned that to change your world, you don't have to move a single object. You just have to change yourself. And the world by law will reorganize itself around you. Law 13, the law of the nightly solution. The untrained mind in this situation enters a worry loop. It turns over and over the same problem, exhausting its energy, looking for a solution in the limited archive of its own past experience. It's like trying to find a book you don't own by searching your own small library over and over again. The initiate in the code of the subconscious knows that he doesn't have to fight for the answer. He simply commissions it. Welcome to the nightly workshop of the soul. We must now explore the law of the nightly solution. This law states that your subconscious mind, being connected to infinite intelligence, possesses the solution to every problem, and that the most effective time to ask it for that solution is just before sleep. The night's workshop, redefining sleep. Our modern culture has devalued sleep. We see it as a passive state, as an unproductive time that must be minimized in order to get more things done. This is one of the most tragic and limiting understandings of our era. Sleep is not an absence of activity. It is the moment when the real activity begins. During the day, your conscious mind is in charge. It is the captain on the bridge, steering the ship with its logic, its analysis, and its willpower. But this captain has a limited vision. It can only see the horizon that its 5 senses present to it, and can only navigate using the maps it already knows, its past experience. When you fall asleep, the conscious captain withdraws to his cabin. And that's when the real power takes the helm. Your subconscious mind, the silent giant, emerges from the engine room. This giant does not need maps, because it is one with the ocean. It does not need a compass, because it is the very intelligence of the universe. Sleep is the giant's workshift, the omniscient problem solver. Why your subconscious has the answer. Your subconscious mind is the most perfect problem-solving machine that exists. For 3 fundamental reasons. It has access to all your data. As we have seen in the law of perfect memory, your subconscious is the infallible archive of your entire life. It has recorded every page of every book you have read, every conversation you have had, every face you have seen. During sleep, while your conscious mind is silent, the subconscious has the ability to review this vast archive at an incredible speed, to find connections, and to synthesize information in ways that the conscious captain, with his limited focus, never could. It is connected to the universal mind. This is the key. Your subconscious is not limited to your data. As we have learned in the law of universal connection, it is your portal to infinite intelligence. It is your personal terminal connected to the cosmic supercomputer. This means that during sleep, your mind can download information and solutions that are completely new to your personal experience. It can access the vast field of all possibilities and find the most elegant solution, the most innovative idea, the answer that resides beyond the limits of your current knowledge. It is not limited by linear logic. The conscious mind is linear. It thinks in logical sequences, a leads to B which leads to C. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is non-linear. It thinks in images, symbols, and metaphors. It is the language of dreams. This way of thinking allows it to make creative leaps that are impossible for the logical mind. It can connect 2 seemingly unrelated ideas to create an invention. It can present the solution to a complex problem in the form of a simple symbol in a dream. History is full of examples of this nightly genius in action. The chemist Auguste Kekulé struggled for months to decipher the structure of the benzene molecule. One night, exhausted, he dreamed of a snake biting its own tail. He woke up with a start. The answer was a ring. That dream changed the history of organic chemistry. Elias Howe was trying to invent the sewing machine, but he didn't know where to put the eye of the needle. He dreamed that he was captured by a tribe of cannibals who were threatening him with spears. And looking at the spears, he saw that they all had a hole near the tip. He woke up, applied the idea to his needle, and the modern sewing machine was born. These were not accidents. They were the result of men who obsessed over a problem during the day, and who then, by surrendering to sleep, allowed their inner giant to access the solution in the vast archive of the universal mind, the practice of the nightly request. This ritual, practiced with faith and consistency, is one of the most powerful tools for guidance and problem-solving. The clarification of the problem. Before sleeping, you sit in silence for a few minutes. You take the problem that is tormenting you and you refine it. You simplify it. You turn it into a clear, concise question. Not "my life is a mess, what do I do?" but something specific like "infinite intelligence. Reveal to me the next perfect and creative step to increase the prosperity of my business." Or, "Show me the harmonious solution to this conflict with name of the person." The act of transfer. Once you have the clear question, you perform a symbolic act of transfer. In your imagination, write the question on a scroll, or place it in a box, and then visualize your inner giant, your subconscious self, and hand him the scroll or the box. With a feeling of total trust, you say inwardly, "I hand this challenge over to you. I know your infinite power and wisdom. Work on it for me while I sleep. Present me with the perfect and clear solution upon waking, or guide me toward it. Thank you." 3. The seal of faith. And here is the crucial step. After handing over the problem, you completely let it go. You refuse to think about it again. You enter the drowsy state, feeling the emotion of relief and gratitude that the problem has already been solved. You feel the calm of knowing that the greatest genius in the universe is working on your case. This emotion of faith is what seals the command, the practice of the art of awakening. The giant often delivers its answer in the delicate state between sleep and wakefulness, in that morning fog where the veil between the worlds is thinnest. The initiate, therefore, becomes a fisherman of dreams, the gentle awakening. He avoids jarring alarms that throw him directly into the beta state of alertness. If possible, he wakes up naturally or with a gentle alarm, the receptive pause. Upon waking, he does not jump out of bed. He remains still in a state of relaxation for a few minutes. He keeps his eyes closed, and he simply listens. Often in this silence, the idea, the image, the feeling of the solution emerges into his consciousness with surprising clarity. The dream journal. He keeps a journal and a pen on his nightstand. He immediately writes down any idea, any dream symbol, any feeling or impulse he received upon waking. He knows that these messages are often fleeting, and that the conscious mind, once fully active, can dismiss them as nonsense. The law of the nightly solution has been revealed to you. Your sleeping hours are no longer an unproductive void, but your most creative workshop. Your pillow is not just a place of rest, it is the desk of your inner genius. You no longer have to fight problems alone. You learn to hand them over, to trust in the power that works for you in silence, and to wake up not with the weight of doubt, but with the clarity of the solution. Law 15. The law of innate healing. In the depths of your subconscious mind, beyond the layers of your limiting beliefs and fears, resides a pristine idea, a perfect blueprint. It is the God idea of your body. It is the energetic matrix of your physical being, in its state of absolute vitality, harmony, and perfection. This innate intelligence has not disappeared. It is the force that, in this very instant, is making your heart beat, digesting your food and turning the air you breathe into life. It is the wisdom that knows how to heal a wound, how to mend a broken bone, how to create millions of new cells every second. Your subconscious is the master architect and the most brilliant construction crew in the universe. It never forgets how to build a perfect body. So why do we get sick? The genesis of illness. The shadow on the blueprint, illness from a metaphysical perspective, is not a random attack from an external force. It is not a simple mechanical malfunction. Illness is a shadow projected by the negative thoughts and destructive emotions of our conscious mind onto the perfect blueprint that resides in the subconscious. Your body is the canvas, your subconscious is the painter, and your habitual thoughts are the model that the painter is obligated to copy. If you constantly present it with a model of fear, stress, and disharmony, the painter, with perfect fidelity, will reproduce that image on the canvas of your body. This process is not magic. It is biochemical and epigenetic. Fear as the main corrupting agent, fear in all its forms, worry, anxiety, panic, is the most potent poison for the body. When you have a fearful thought, your brain releases the chemistry of stress, cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are the emergency signal for your body. And in an emergency, your body diverts all energy from long-term projects, like cellular repair, digestion, and the functioning of the immune system, and directs it to the muscles for fight or flight. A state of chronic fear is a state in which your healing system is perpetually turned off, or beliefs, as chronic instructions. Your beliefs about health act as permanent instructions for your subconscious. If you hold the belief that I am prone to getting sick in the winter, you are giving your subconscious a direct and powerful command, and it, as the obedient servant, will ensure that your immune system is weakened at the right time so that your belief manifests as a truth. If you believe in the inheritance of a disease, you are accepting a faulty blueprint and commanding your body to build it. Epigenetics teaches us that genes are only potentialities. It is belief through the chemistry of emotion that often pulls the trigger. The power of the diagnosis, a negative medical diagnosis, delivered by an authority figure, can act as one of the most potent hypnotic suggestions that exist. If you accept the diagnosis, if you turn it into your belief, you are handing your subconscious a new and detailed blueprint of the illness, and it, without questioning it, will begin to build that reality in your body with terrifying precision. The first practice, erasing the shadow. Before you can restore the original blueprint, you must first erase the shadows that obscure it. The practice is that of metaphysical denial. This is not a denial of the reality of your symptoms. It is the denial of their ultimate power. It is the denial of the belief that the symptom is the truth. The initiate, upon feeling pain or remembering a diagnosis, does not fall into panic. He performs an act of mental sovereignty. With a calm firmness, he declares inwardly, I deny the power of this appearance. It is a shadow of the past, a creation of old thoughts of fear. It has no power over me, for I live and move in the infinite mind. The only truth is my perfect health here and now. This act of denial is not a struggle. It is an erasing. It withdraws belief energy from the hologram of illness, weakening its projection. The second practice, scientific prayer for healing. With the shadow weakened, the quantum healer now imprints the blueprint of perfection. He uses the formula of scientific prayer, adapted for healing. The acknowledgement. He begins by acknowledging the infinite intelligence of his subconscious, the master builder. I know that the same intelligence that formed my body in my mother's womb is still present in me now, and it knows the path of perfect healing. The clear idea. He presents the idea of health. Often, instead of focusing on the sick organ, he focuses on the divine principle that organ represents. If he has a heart problem, he focuses on the idea of divine love. If he has a lung problem, on the breath of life. He rises above the specific problem to the perfect principle. The feeling. He feels the emotion of health already restored. Not hope, but gratitude. Thank you, Father, for your healing life that flows through me now, restoring every cell to its divine pattern of perfection. The release. And he lets go. He trusts the process. He enters the mental Sabbath, knowing that the command has been given and that the builder is working. The third practice, the lullaby of perfection. To solidify the new imprint, the initiate uses the power of the drowsy state. Every night as he falls asleep, he lulls his subconscious with the lullaby of healing. He chooses a single word that encapsulates his desire. Health, or perfection, or thank you. And he repeats it, gently with feeling, rocking himself to sleep in the vibration of his new reality. The law of innate healing has been revealed to you. Your body is not a fragile machine doomed to fail. It is a self-healing temple, a reflection of your consciousness. You are no longer a victim of your biology. You are its architect. You have the power to erase the shadows of fear and to project with unshakable faith the image of the divine perfection that is your true natural state. Law 16. The law of non-interference. Imagine a gardener who prepares the soil with care. He chooses the most perfect seed and plants it carefully. But the next day, consumed by anxiety, he returns to the garden and digs up the seed to see if it is germinating. Seeing no sprout, he is disappointed and buries it again. The next day, he repeats the process. What will happen to that seed? Inevitably, it will die. It will never have the opportunity to germinate in the stillness and darkness it needs. This is the madness that most of us practice with our minds. We perform a powerful act of creation in our meditation. For 5 minutes, we plant the seed of abundance. We feel its reality. We are filled with faith. But then we open our eyes and return to the world of the senses. And for the next 23 hours and 55 minutes, we dig up that seed over and over again. We worry about how the money will come. First shovel strike. We doubt whether the law really works. Second strike. We look at our bank account and complain about the lack. Third strike. We talk to our friends about how difficult things are. Fourth strike. Each of these acts of doubt is a prayer in reverse. It is a counter-command that you are giving to your subconscious. It's like sending an email with a purchase order, and 5 minutes later, sending another one that says, "Cancel my previous order." Your subconscious, upon receiving these two contradictory orders, is paralyzed. And since the old belief in scarcity is often much stronger and more habitual, by the law of least resistance, it is the cancellation order that it finally executes. The science of trust. Why the subconscious needs autonomy. The principle of non-interference is not a matter of positive thinking. It is a deep understanding of how your subconscious mind operates. The subconscious is the master builder. Imagine that you have hired the best architect and builder in the world to build your dream house. You give him the perfect blueprint. A wise architect, once he has done this, withdraws and trusts in the builder's mastery. A neurotic architect, on the other hand, would go to the construction site every day to tell the builder how to mix the cement, how to lay the bricks. This micromanagement would not only insult the builder's intelligence, but it would slow down and likely ruin the project. Your subconscious is that master builder. Once you have given it the blueprint, your scientific prayer, your only job is to step aside and let it work its magic. Your constant interference through worrying about the how and the when only hinders its work. The vibrational incoherence of doubt. As we have learned, your prayer, performed from a state of gratitude, emits a coherent, harmonious signal to the quantum field. Doubt and worry, on the other hand, are survival emotions. They generate a chaotic, incoherent signal. When after your prayer you fall into a state of doubt, you are broadcasting static over your own beautiful signal. You are confusing the quantum field. You are sending two messages at once, abundance and scarcity, and the universe, in its perfect logic, often gets stuck in neutral or gives you back a chaotic mixture of both. The principle of the Sabbath, the ancient mystics understood this law perfectly. They coded it in the Sabbath principle. The story of creation says that God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh he rested. This is not a command to laziness. It is a metaphysical formula. The 6 days represent the work of mental creation, the clarification of the idea, the generation of the feeling, the imprinting on the subconscious. The seventh day, the Sabbath, is the state of non-interference. It is the act of resting, not from exhaustion but from certainty. It is the calm, quiet conviction that it is done. You have planted the seed. You have completed your work as a creator. Now you enter a state of rest and confident expectation, allowing the law of gestation to do its work in the darkness. The first practice, the mental diet. To cultivate non-interference, you must become the guardian of the doors of your mind. The practice is that of the mental diet. This is not an act of superficial positive thinking. It is a discipline of attention. It is the art of refusing to entertain any thought, conversation, or feeling that contradicts the truth of your wish fulfilled. The guardian at the gate. You become the guardian of the door of your mind. When a thought of doubt or fear, the evidence of the senses, tries to enter, you do not fight it. You don't get angry with yourself for having it. You simply, with a sovereign calm, recognize it as an echo of the past and deny it entry. You withdraw your attention from it and deliberately return it to the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. The counter-decree, Often, the guardian uses the counter-decree tool. Doubt whispers, "You'll never get it." The guardian, with an inner calm, responds, "It is done. The command has been given." The second practice, the art of handover. The initiate knows that his conscious mind is the source of interference. Therefore, he practices the art of handing over the problem to a higher intelligence. The ritual is simple and profound. You take your desire or problem. In your imagination, you place it in a golden box or write it on a scroll. And with a feeling of deep relief and trust, you hand it over to your subconscious giant. And you say, "This is yours now. I trust your wisdom to solve it perfectly. My work is done. Thank you." This act of handover is the formal entrance into the mental Sabbath. It is the declaration that you are no longer in charge of the how. Your only task from that moment on is to maintain your faith. The third practice, the conscious occupation. An idle mind is the workshop of doubt. To avoid digging up the seed, the wise gardener occupies himself with other tasks. The practice is that of conscious occupation. Once you have said your prayer, once you have planted the seed, the most effective way not to interfere is to forget about it, not with a forced forgetting, but by occupying your conscious mind with the day-to-day affairs. Immerse yourself in your work. Enjoy a hobby, serve others. By keeping your conscious mind occupied with the present, you allow your subconscious mind to work in the background, undisturbed. The manifestation often arrives, as Joseph Murphy said, when you least expect it, at the moment you have completely let go of your attachment to the outcome. The law of non-interference has been revealed to you. It is the final seal of mastery. It is the trust of the gardener who knows that after planting, the law of gestation is infallible. You are no longer an anxious supervisor of your subconscious. You are the wise king who gives a command and then trusts with absolute peace that his most powerful servant will carry it out. Law 17. The law of unique focus. Now, in this stage of mastery, we must explore the law that magnifies the potency of your initial command. The law that differentiates a lukewarm effort from an irresistible force. The one that separates the amateur who chases 1,000 hares from the master who captures the most prized. We must master the law of unique focus. This law states that your creative power is directly proportional to your ability to concentrate it on a single, primary desire until it manifests. The dispersed army. The powerlessness of multiple desires. The untrained mind is like an inexperienced general. He possesses an army of immense power, his energy of attention and emotion, but instead of consolidating his forces to win the most important battle, he disperses his troops on a dozen fronts at once. He wants more money. He wants a new relationship. He wants to be healthier. He wants to write a book. He wants to learn a new language. Every day, he dedicates a little of his energy to each of these goals. A few minutes of visualization for wealth, a fleeting thought for love, a vague intention for health. The result is that each platoon of his energetic army is weak, ill-equipped, and easily defeated by the resistance of old habits and current circumstances. The general is incredibly busy fighting 1,000 battles, but he wins no wars. At the end of the day, he feels exhausted and frustrated, without understanding why, despite his many desires, his life doesn't change. The problem is the dilution of power. Your creative power at any given moment is a finite amount. By dividing it among 10 goals, you are only giving each one 10% of your strength. And 10% of your power is not enough to deeply impress your subconscious or to create an electromagnetic signal powerful enough to organize the quantum field. The power of the magnifying glass. The physics of focus, the master of the mind, on the other hand, is a brilliant strategist. He knows that the secret to victory is the concentration of force. Imagine that the energy of your consciousness is like sunlight bathing a field. It is a vast energy but diffuse. It gently warms the earth, but it doesn't have the power to light a fire. An intention is like a magnifying glass. When you take all the scattered rays of your consciousness and focus them through the magnifying glass of a single desire onto a single point, something miraculous happens. The energy concentrates, intensifies, until that point becomes incandescent and finally bursts into flames. That is manifestation. The law of unique focus doesn't ask you to give up your other desires. It asks you to postpone them. It asks for the wisdom of a general who knows that, to win the war, he must first win the most strategic battle. Choose your main objective, your Normandy beach. Consolidate all your forces, your power of visualization, your emotional power, your power of repetition, and direct a massive, focused assault on that single objective. Once you have conquered that first territory, once you have manifested that first great desire, two things happen. Your faith in the law and in yourself becomes unshakable. You have created massive momentum. From the position of power of your first success, manifesting the next desires becomes exponentially easier. The internal mechanism, why unique focus works on a neurological level. By focusing on a single goal, you are firing and wiring the same neural network over and over again, day after day. This creates an incredibly deep and myelinated neural superhighway. Your brain becomes obsessed with this goal. And your reticular activation system, your perceptual filter, receives a clear and unequivocal command. This, and only this, is the most important thing. Show me everything in my reality that relates to it. You become a detector of opportunities for that specific goal. On a subconscious level, your inner giant is a powerful but simple servant. Giving it 10 commands at once confuses it. Giving it a single dominant command, repeated with total conviction, gives it absolute clarity. It allows it to channel the totality of its infinite power toward the execution of that single task. The first practice, the clarification of the primordial desire. To be able to focus your power, you must first know where to aim. The first act of the strategist is clarification. You take your journal, which is your war room, and you make an inventory of your desires. You write down all the goals, all the longings that are competing for your attention, and then, for each one, you ask yourself the general's question. If I could only achieve one of these things in the next year, which one of them would make all the others easier or irrelevant? This is not an easy question. It requires brutal honesty. It forces you to differentiate between the whims of your ego and the true calls of your soul. Another powerful question is, what desire, if I achieve it, will turn me into the person I need to be to manifest everything else? Often, the right goal is not an external goal, but one of internal growth. Perhaps your main objective is not to earn €1,000,000, but to become a person of unshakable confidence and discipline. By achieving the latter, the €1,000,000 becomes a natural consequence. The initiate meditates on these questions. And finally, he chooses. He chooses his D-Day. And once he has chosen it, he writes it at the top of a new page. This is now his single objective. The second practice, the monastic vow. Once the objective has been chosen, the general must consolidate his troops. His practice is that of the monastic vow. He makes a sacred vow to himself. For a set period, 90 days, 6 months, a year, he commits to dedicating 90% of his creative energy to this single objective. This means he must have the courage to say no. He says no to the new, brilliant business ideas that will inevitably appear to tempt him. He writes them down on a maybe later list and returns. To his main objective, he says no to requests for his time and energy that do not align with his mission. He says no to distractions and hobbies that drain his power of focus. This vow is not an act of deprivation. It is an act of power. It is the declaration that your vision is so important that you are willing to sacrifice the good for the excellent. The third practice, total immersion. Finally, the strategist knows that to win a war, he must live and breathe the battlefield. His practice is that of total immersion. He surrounds himself with his objective. His desk, his screensaver, his environment are filled with images and reminders of his vision. The books he reads, the podcasts he listens to, the conversations he participates in, everything is deliberately chosen to nurture his objective. In his meditation, his scientific prayer, his subconscious lullaby, everything is focused on imprinting the reality of this single desire into the depths of his being. He creates a reality bubble in which his goal is not a future objective. It is the single and dominant reality of his present. The law of unique focus has been revealed to you. You are no longer a general who disperses his forces in 1,000 lost battles. You are a master strategist who consolidates his power, chooses his decisive battle and advances with the irresistible force of a unified mind. Law 18. The law of gratitude as a signal. We have been conditioned to understand gratitude as a reaction. It is a feeling of thankfulness we express after something good has happened to us. We receive a gift and we say thank you. This is the gratitude of the effect. It is a social courtesy, a passive emotion. But gratitude in its highest form is not a reaction. It is a cause. Creative gratitude is the art of being grateful for your wish fulfilled before it manifests in the world of the senses. It is the clearest, most potent, and most unequivocal signal you can send to your subconscious mind. It is the telegram that tells the giant, order received and completed on the plane of consciousness. Proceed with materialization. Most of us pray from a place of lack. We ask, we beg, we long. Each of these actions is born from the feeling of not having. And since the subconscious responds to the dominant feeling, our prayer of lack can only manifest more lack. Gratitude inverts this equation. When you feel genuine gratitude for something, it is psychologically impossible to feel that you are lacking. Gratitude is the vibrational signature of wholeness. It is the emotion of reception. By generating this feeling deliberately, you are assuming the state of your wish already fulfilled. And this is the only language your subconscious understands, the science and physics of the grateful state. The power of gratitude is not a simple, inspiring idea. It is a biochemical and biophysical fact. The biochemistry of reception. When you generate a state of gratitude, your body responds instantly. Your heart enters a state of high coherence. This harmonious rhythm sends a signal of calm and safety to every cell of your being. Your brain releases a cocktail of well-being neurochemicals. Your levels of dopamine, the motivation molecule, and serotonin, the well-being molecule, increase, and the production of cortisol, the stress hormone, is drastically reduced. This biochemical state is your biology's reception mode. A stressed body is in survival mode, closed, defensive, focused on protecting itself from a threat. In this state, it is energetically impossible to create or receive anything new. A grateful body, on the other hand, is in growth and repair mode. It is open, relaxed, safe. It is, at a cellular level, prepared and ready to receive the gifts of the universe. The vibrational signature of fulfillment. Your state of being is a frequency, and the universe, as a resonance field, gives you back a reflection of that frequency. The feeling of gratitude is the vibrational signature of wholeness. It is the energetic declaration that I already have, that I already am, that I am complete. It is impossible to feel genuine gratitude and a sense of lack at the same time. They are mutually exclusive frequencies. Therefore, gratitude is the perfect antidote to the scarcity mindset. By embodying the frequency of gratitude, you become a vibrating tuning fork that is perfectly tuned to the reality of your wish fulfilled. And by the law of resonance, that reality, which already exists as a potentiality in the quantum field, must be attracted to your experience, the irrefutable command to the subconscious. Finally, gratitude is the most powerful command for your inner giant. The subconscious responds to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you feel gratitude for your healing, for your prosperity, or for your ideal relationship as if they were already a fact, you are giving your subconscious a final, irrefutable command. You are moving your desire from the wish list to the inventory list. You are declaring that, on the only plane that truly matters, the plane of consciousness, the transaction is already completed. And your subconscious, upon receiving this command, charged with the absolute certainty of gratitude, has no choice but to accept this new truth and begin working tirelessly so that the world of shadows, the world of effects, aligns with it. The first practice, the daily asset audit. To cultivate gratitude, you must first retrain your mind to see the wealth you already possess. The practice is that of auditing your assets. You take your journal, and every night before sleeping, you become a treasure hunter of your own day. You seek out, with deliberate attention, 3 to 5 specific blessings of the day for which you are genuinely grateful. You don't write generic things like my family or my health. You look for specificity, because it is in the detail that emotion resides. I'm grateful for the way my son hugged me this morning. I'm grateful for the intense taste of the first sip of coffee. I'm grateful for the 5-minute conversation I had with a colleague that made me feel connected. By doing this, you rewire your brain. You train your reticular activation system to become an expert at finding wealth instead of lack. And you fall asleep in the vibration of wholeness. The second practice, the gratitude burst. To change a state of negativity immediately, the initiate uses a high-potency tool, the gratitude burst. The practice is simple and explosive. When you feel overwhelmed by worry or frustration, you withdraw for 5 minutes. You set a timer, and for those 5 minutes non-stop, you verbalize or write down everything you are grateful for as fast as you can. Thank you for this roof. Thank you for my hands. Thank you for this challenge. Thank you for the air I breathe. Thank you for the water I drink. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the lesson I'm learning. The goal is not eloquence, but momentum. It is to create a whirlwind of high-frequency energy that short-circuits negative thought patterns. This gratitude burst is like an emotional capital injection into your inner economy. It elevates your vibrational state almost instantly and pulls you out of the bear market of worry. The third practice, anticipatory gratitude. Finally, we come to the most advanced and powerful strategy, the art of giving thanks for the prayer already answered. The practice of anticipatory gratitude. In your scientific prayer, in the portal of sleep, you do not ask for your desire. You don't hope for it. You give thanks for it. You connect with the image and feeling of your wish already fulfilled. And from that state, you formulate your prayer as a thank you. Thank you, infinite intelligence, for the resounding success of this project. Thank you for the perfect health that is already my reality. Thank you for the abundance that flows freely into my life in expected and unexpected ways. This act is the most powerful declaration of faith there is. It is the final signature on the contract with the universe. It is the unequivocal signal that tells your subconscious, this is not a possibility. It is an accomplished fact. Manifest it. Gratitude ceases to be an act of politeness. It becomes the most profitable investment strategy in the universe. It is the economic policy that transforms a mind in recession into an empire of sustainable abundance. Law 19. The Law of Inner Harmony. You have been initiated into the great secrets of creation. You hold in your hands the power of belief, imagination, repetition, and gratitude. You have begun to plant the seeds of a new and magnificent reality in the garden of your subconscious. But then often something disconcerting happens. Despite your best efforts, an invisible force seems to undo your work. You take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. An opportunity appears and somehow you sabotage it. You feel close to your goal and suddenly an unexpected crisis throws you off course. This force is not fate. It is not bad luck. It is the manifestation of a kingdom in a state of civil war. It is the result of the violation of one of the most important laws of the code. We must decipher the law of inner harmony. This law states that for a manifestation to occur in a fluid and permanent way, there must be a harmony and alignment between the desires of your conscious mind and the programming of your subconscious mind. The divided kingdom, the cause of self-sabotage. Imagine that your being is a great ship. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge. The captain reads the maps, chooses a new and glorious destination, the island of abundance, the port of perfect health, and gives the command to turn the rudder. Your subconscious mind is the vast and immensely powerful crew in the engine room. The crew does not see the maps. It does not know the new destination. Its only loyalty is to the orders that have been engraved in its procedure manuals through years of repetition. Self-sabotage is the tragedy of a silent mutiny. The captain, your conscious mind, shouts from the bridge, "Head for abundance." But the crew, your subconscious mind, which for 30 years has been faithfully navigating toward the island of scarcity, looks at its old manuals, your limiting beliefs, and gets confused. The captain's orders do not match the programming. And since the programming is stronger, more habitual, and more deeply ingrained, the crew ignores the captain and keeps the ship on its old familiar course. The captain gets frustrated. I gave the command. Why won't the ship turn? He doesn't realize that it's not enough to give a new command. First, he must go down to the engine room and rewrite the crew's manuals, the mechanics of the mutiny. Why do you sabotage yourself? This conflict is not a struggle between good and evil. It is a struggle between a new desire and an old program. And the program, if it is not rewritten, almost always wins. The subconscious mutiny occurs for three reasons. The law of least resistance. As we have learned, the subconscious always follows the path of least resistance. Your old beliefs of scarcity or unworthiness are 8-lane neural superhighways. Your new desire for abundance is a small path you are trying to cut through the jungle with a machete. In a moment of tiredness or stress, when your conscious will falters, the energy of your being, by the sheer law of efficiency, will rush down the familiar superhighway. The search for coherence. The main job of your subconscious is to maintain coherence between your inner world, your beliefs, and your outer world, your reality. It is a survival mechanism. If your dominant belief is, "I am not worthy of love," and suddenly a healthy, loving person appears in your life, your subconscious perceives this as a dissonance. It is an anomaly that threatens the established order, and to restore coherence, to protect you from this unknown experience, it will begin to orchestrate events and behaviors to sabotage the relationship. It will make you say something hurtful. It will make you distrust for no reason, until the person leaves and your external reality once again becomes coherent with your internal belief of, "I am not worthy." The addiction to the familiar. Finally, as we have seen, your body becomes chemically addicted to your familiar emotional states. If your normality is the chemistry of stress and anxiety, your body will crave that chemistry. The feeling of peace and confidence that accompanies a new and audacious project is so unknown that your body can enter a state of withdrawal. And to get its dose, your subconscious can create a crisis, a drama, a conflict, simply to generate the familiar surge of cortisol and adrenaline it is accustomed to. The first practice, the peace treaty. The diplomat's first act is reconciliation. He knows that the crew, his subconscious, is not malicious. Its resistance to change is born from a positive intention, to protect you, to keep you in the safety of the familiar, based on the law of homeostasis. The practice is that of the inner conversation. You sit in a meditative state, and you speak to your subconscious not as an enemy, but as a valuable but outdated partner. "Subconscious mind," you say with total sincerity, "I thank you for your incredible work in keeping me safe all these years. I thank your loyalty to the old programs. They served their purpose. But now, as your captain, I inform you that we have received a new destination, a destination of greater abundance, of greater health, of greater joy. I know this new course may seem unknown and therefore dangerous, but I ask for your cooperation. I ask you to trust my new vision. Together we will sail to this new world. This simple act of acknowledgement and gratitude disarms resistance. It is the first step to turning a mutineer into an ally." The second practice, rewriting the operation manuals. Once peace has been declared, the captain must give the crew new operation manuals. He must replace the old maps of scarcity with the new maps of abundance. The practice is that of persistent and coherent reprogramming. This is where all the laws we have learned come together. Every night in the drowsy state, the captain reads the new manual to his crew. He shows them the movie of the new life, the law of the master, image. He makes them feel the emotion of its success, the law of feeling as a seal, and he sings them to sleep like a lullaby. The law of rhythmic repetition. At the time of maximum receptivity, the law of hypnotic suggestion. This is not a one-time act. It is a process of retraining. Day after day, night after night, the captain, with infinite patience, presents the crew with the evidence of the new destination, until it becomes more familiar and more real than the old one. The third practice, the unified command congruence. Finally, harmony is achieved when the captain and the crew move as one. The practice is that of congruence. Your subconscious is incredibly sensitive to hypocrisy. If the captain shouts, "Head for abundance," but spends the day acting out of a fear of scarcity, the crew will perceive the contradiction and will remain loyal to the stronger signal, that of action. To achieve harmony, your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions must all point in the same direction. You no longer just think about abundance in your meditation. You feel the gratitude of abundance during the day. You speak the language of abundance, eliminating complaints, and crucially, you take small actions of abundance. You leave a generous tip. You invest in your own growth. You act as if You are already the prosperous person you are becoming. When the crew sees that the captain is 100% committed, that his behavior on the bridge is coherent with his orders, trust is restored. The mutiny ends, and all the energy of the ship, every ounce of power of the subconscious giant, is directed with an unstoppable force toward the new, magnificent destination. The law of inner harmony has been revealed to you. Self-sabotage is no longer a mystery. It is simply the symptom of a divided consciousness. By becoming the diplomat of your own soul, by aligning your conscious desire with your subconscious programming, the civil war ends. The giant within you stops being your adversary and becomes your most powerful ally. Law 20, the law of conscious sovereignty. Now we come to the 20th and final law, the one that crowns all mastery. The one that places you, once and for all, on the throne of your own life. You must reclaim your power not as the captain, but as the sovereign. You must embody the law of conscious sovereignty, the abdication of the throne. The victim mentality, most of humanity lives in a state of silent abdication. Without realizing it, we have surrendered the throne of our own lives. We have handed over the scepter of our power to external circumstances. We believe that our mood depends on the weather, the economy, or the behavior of others. We believe that our opportunities are dictated by our past, our education, or our family. We believe that we are the effect of a world that happens to us. This is the victim mentality, and it is the deepest form of slavery. The law of conscious sovereignty is the declaration of independence from this tyranny. It is the radical and absolute acceptance of a fundamental truth. While you cannot always control what happens to you, you always have absolute control over your inner experience of what happens to you. You are not the king of the outer world, but you are the undisputed monarch of your inner kingdom. And this, as you will discover, is the only throne that truly matters. Because it is from this inner throne that the outer kingdom is projected. The three great powers of the sovereign, your sovereignty, your inner control, is exercised over three great domains. The power to choose your thoughts. Your subconscious mind may, out of habit, present you with thoughts of fear, doubt, or limitation. They are like the old counselors of the court, accustomed to governing in the king's absence. The person who has abdicated his throne believes that these thoughts are the truth. He identifies with them. He is swept away by them. The conscious sovereign, on the other hand, knows that he is not his thoughts. He is the consciousness that is aware of his thoughts, and in that awareness resides his power. He exercises the power of the royal veto. When his subconscious presents him with a legislative proposal, in the form of a fearful thought, the sovereign examines it. And with a complete calm he can say, I reject this proposal. In my kingdom this law of fear has no validity. He doesn't fight the thought. He simply withdraws his royal consent. He denies it his attention. And a thought deprived of the sovereign's attention fades away for lack of power. Then he exercises his power of promulgation. He deliberately chooses a new thought, a new law, that of confidence, of possibility, and gives it his royal seal, his focused attention. The power to choose your meaning. The events of the external world are in themselves neutral. They have no inherent meaning. It is we, through the lens of our beliefs, who assign meaning to them. And it is the meaning, not the event, that determines our experience. Let's imagine two people who lose their jobs. The external event is the same. The victim person assigns it the meaning of catastrophe. The story she tells herself is, I have failed. The world is unfair. My future is bleak. This meaning generates the emotions of fear and despair. The sovereign person chooses a different meaning. She doesn't deny the difficulty, but she chooses an empowering framework. The story she tells herself is, interesting. The universe has closed this door, which means a better door is about to open. This is the opportunity I needed to reevaluate my path. This meaning generates the emotions of curiosity and possibility. The event did not change. What changed was the sovereign. The conscious sovereign is a master of meaning. He knows that his power does not reside in controlling events, but in his unconditional freedom to interpret them in a way that serves him. The power to direct the giant. Finally, the sovereign understands that his main role is not to be a worker in his kingdom, but a visionary. He knows that he has at his service the most powerful servant in the universe, his subconscious giant. And he realizes that his most important job is to give this giant clear, coherent, and consistent commands. He stops wasting his energy on the struggle and effort in the external world, and he focuses it on the inner work of scientific prayer, of subconscious imprinting. He becomes the orchestra conductor, who with a clear and confident gesture guides his 100 musicians to produce a magnificent symphony. The first practice, the throne of silence. The sovereign cannot govern from the chaos of the market. He must have a throne, a place of stillness from which to observe his kingdom with perfect clarity. The practice is that of meditation as enthronement. Every day you sit in silence, not to calm your mind but to occupy your throne. You close your eyes, and from the center of your being, you observe the parade of thoughts, emotions, and sensations. You are not the parade. You are the king who observes it from the palace balcony. This daily practice reinforces your identity as the sovereign consciousness, the silent witness, not as the noisy subjects, your thoughts and emotions. By sitting on your throne of silence every morning, you reclaim your authority for the rest of the day. The second practice, the royal decree. Every morning, the sovereign begins his day with a decree. Not a wish, not a request, a decree. The practice is that of establishing the law of the day. Upon waking, before the outside world can impose its agenda on you, you ask yourself, what sovereign quality do I choose to embody today? Perhaps it is peace, perhaps it is power, perhaps it is clarity, perhaps it is gratitude, and you declare, with a firm and serene intention, today, I am peace. This is the law of my kingdom. This decree becomes the constitution for the next 24 hours, the law to which all your thoughts, feelings, and actions must adhere. It gives your subconscious giant its main directive for the day. The third practice, the court of self-inquiry. The sovereign is not a tyrant who ignores his subjects. He is a wise judge who listens. His practice is that of compassionate self-inquiry. When a rebellion occurs in his kingdom, a negative emotional reaction, a pattern of self-sabotage, the sovereign does not crush it with violence. He brings it to court. You take your journal, and you ask the rebellious emotion or thought, what have you come to teach me? What underlying belief are you defending? What fear are you trying to protect? By questioning your own reactions with genuine curiosity, you transform rebels into advisors. You discover the old hidden laws that still operate in your kingdom, and with your new wisdom, you can choose to repeal them. The law of conscious sovereignty is the culmination of your journey. You have gone from being a subject of your programming to being the monarch of your mind. The giant within you is no longer a chaotic sleeping master. He is your prime minister, loyal and powerful, awaiting the directives from your throne. Your inner kingdom is at last at peace. You have deciphered the 20 laws of the code. You have reclaimed your power. Now only one thing remains: to govern. Our journey began with the revelation of a sleeping giant within us, a being of colossal power, whose chaotic dreams, programmed by our past, built the prison of our present. We started as the powerless inhabitants of a kingdom ruled by a force we didn't understand. And throughout this manual, we have undertaken a silent revolution. We have deciphered the secret code of the mind. In the first part, we explored the nature of the giant. We discovered its impersonal servitude, its absolute loyalty to belief, its perfect memory, its universal connection, and its stubborn law of homeostasis. We understood for the first time the architecture of our jailer, and at the same time of our greatest ally. In the second part, we learned the language of the code. We mastered the law of the master image, understanding that the subconscious thinks in images. We learned to use feeling as a seal to validate our commands. We discovered the power of rhythmic repetition to carve new channels in our mind, and the law of least resistance that governs the flow of our energy. And we were given the key to the most sacred portal, the law of hypnotic suggestion. In the third part, we entered the alchemist's workshop. We assembled the code into the practice of scientific prayer. We understood the law of physical embodiment, seeing our body as the canvas of our mind. We activated the law of magnetic attraction and learned to commission nightly solutions to our problems, trusting in the innate healing that resides within us. Finally, in the fourth part, we ascended to mastery. We embraced the law of non-interference, the discipline of unique focus, and the power of gratitude as a signal. We understood the need for inner harmony to end self-sabotage. And lastly, we reclaimed our throne through the law of conscious sovereignty. The giant is no longer asleep. It's awake. It's looking at you, and it's awaiting your commands. The relationship has changed forever. You are no longer the terrified inhabitant of a kingdom ruled by the dreams of others. You are the conscious sovereign who, with wisdom and love, directs the most powerful being in the universe. With this knowledge, miracles cease to be inexplicable events. They become the natural and predictable consequence of aligning your conscious mind with the unlimited power of your subconscious. A miracle is not a violation of the law. It's the correct application of a higher law. And now you know those laws. Your journey of learning has ended. Your reign begins now. Your practice is no longer about learning the code, but about living it. Every day upon waking, you sit on the throne of your consciousness, not with fear, but with serene authority. And your first question is no longer, what will the day bring? But what magnificent reality will I command my subconscious to build today? Do not ask, do not hope, do not beg, decree. If this code has awakened the giant within you and has returned the scepter of your power, we invite you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to our channel, The Hidden Knowledge, for more manuals on mastery. Like this video as a declaration that you have awakened your inner giant. Share this knowledge with someone who needs to remember the immense power that sleeps within them. Thank you for your time, for your dedication, and for the brave decision to go from being a dream of the giant to becoming its dreamer.